What's up, everybody? It's LG Doucet here. Today is Monday, August 9th, 2021. Welcome to the First Mint, a podcast where I talk about marketplace trends, big sales, and everything going on in NBA Top Shot. And there is, surprisingly, quite a lot going on. The market is showing signs of life, if you can believe it. The last couple days have been quite remarkable compared to the last couple months, and we're going to dive into that on today's show. We're also going to talk about how hot Top Shot is right now, showing itself off at the Summer League in Vegas and also blowing up the Top Shot community with the 9 Lives Lounge announcement on Friday. We got all that and more on today's episode. I want to remind everybody here that nothing on the show constitutes trading advice in any way, and that this show is not affiliated anymore with NBA Top Shot, the NBA, or Dapper Labs anymore because the festival's over. This is the First Mint. Before we get into it today, I just want to say thank you again for last week's First Mint Fest. We wrapped it up on Thursday night with the unofficial NBA Top Shot Collector's Choice Awards. I know it kind of disrupted our podcast schedule, so for that, I appreciate your patience. We'll be back on track this week, but we're also going to have all of our content from last week posted this week, so all the different talks, all the different presentations, the panels, all that stuff is going to be up on our YouTube sometime a little later this week, so if you want to catch some of those chats, take a look for them. If you attended, thank you. If you engaged, if you joined Festival HQ Discord, if you collected the POAPs, all that, thank you for being there. I appreciate everybody who made time to attend, who came to learn, and also appreciate, send a special thanks out to all our sponsors, especially NBA Top Shot and Dapper Labs, for being a solid partner through the whole affair. From here, well, I guess we're on to the next in terms of events. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like, but as soon as I do, I will share it with you. For now, we got a bit of a chill week at Top Shot, or more so, not really sure what's going to happen this week because we don't really have a roadmap. We don't know what's on tap, but we do know that the market has come back to life. It started about a week ago as some stuff started to move. Top Shot had kind of stagnated. It was really at like an all-time low in terms of 2021, but around the start of last week things started to move. Some big sales started to go, and kind of culminating yesterday, the market cap for Top Shot had gone up, I'd say somewhere between like 15 and 25%, depending which analytics site you use, which there's some really good ones out there in the Top Shot community. A few factors for this marketplace activity, and if you're part of it, you're out there buying, you're out there selling, good for you, taking part of it. I know it's a little hard to believe, mainly because for months we've just been, on this decline of the market, and now we might actually be seeing some life. So it's a little hard to believe, a little hard to, stake our bets, think that it's going to last, but we can at least look at the factors for why it's happening and maybe make somewhat of an educated guess in terms of what the next few weeks are going to look like, whether this market is going to stay hot or not. So for starters, last week, Top Shot raised their moment cap, sales cap, to $1 million. So that naturally brought a ton of really high-end moments, mainly the Series 1 stuff like the Cosmics and the Hollows. It brought their floor prices up to $1 million. Everybody who had listed theirs at $250,000, well, everybody, like the few people who have those, who had listed them that low, some of them raised them. So naturally, that kind of contributed to the higher market cap on Top Shot. But we also saw a lot of people's individual account valuations go up. Most of the stuff that's popping off has been Series 1 legendaries, like I just mentioned, Series 1 debuts, Series 1 like unique moments, things like the Vince Carter moment, and then of course a lot of Series 2 legendary moments from, notable players as well, like some metallic golds. Quite a few things overall popping off. Probably the stuff that's moving the least though has been, of course, the stuff that seems to have way too many moments in it, like the Series 2 base set, although that set actually has had the most volume of the last couple days, but that could also be explained in the sense that it has 1/3 of all the moments on Top Shot. So naturally, there'll be a lot of volume there as the market moves. It's fun to see the market moving. I will say that it has been interesting, even if it is the more high-end premium moments moving. It's nice to see some people getting interested in those, willing to spend that high dollar, and we're definitely starting to see it kind of trickle down. What else could be causing this? Well, supply has been cut off for Series 2. We know it's officially over. All those moments got locked on Friday in terms of all the Series 2 base moments, all the ones that were kind of open at, 35,000, 40,000, all the challenge reward moments that were still open for some reason. All that's done. So that kind of drove a little bit of buyer confidence. And also overall, it kind of feels like Top Shot's got a bit of a better handle in terms of what's going on with their products. So that's also driving some confidence, maybe, making people feel a little bit better about putting some big money into it. And also, speaking of big money, the NFT market has been moving quite heavily. It started a couple weeks ago, and we covered this on the podcast a week ago. We talked about CryptoPunks for a little bit. But basically, a few weeks ago, those big ticket items started to move quite quickly, such as CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and all that kind of stuff. And naturally, I find in the NFT market, when those big ticket items start to move, it does flow down to other big ticket items, which at this point you could definitely consider some of, the Series 1 legendary moments in Top Shot to be big ticket items. So naturally, as more high-end buyers start to notice high-end sales in something like NFTs, the more they get attracted to it and the more they want to come and scoop it up. A lot of it could also be prospecting, right? A lot of, some of the OGs of Top Shot have been buying a lot the last couple of days, maybe thinking that a big surge is coming next and that now would be a really good time to buy. What happens next on the market? I'm not really sure. We're in like an unprecedented place right now. We've had market surges in the past, absolutely, but those have been in days of, multi-accounts, bots, like no regulation on the marketplace, the pure Wild West of Top Shot. Whereas now things are kind of regulated. Things are kind of normal now. There's way less bad actors on the platform, or at least we think, right? There's a lot less of that lawlessness. So things are very controlled, and yet the market is surging. So it's kind of hard to say what exactly could sustain this or what could halt it. My main question is, how many buyers do we have right now? We had a lot of new buyers. Who are the people that are buying? And, in terms of the current users, those of us who maybe have had our account values crash in the last couple months, are we going to be the ones kind of halting a big surge because we're going to be a little too eager to sell our moments and recoup some of our losses? I'm not really sure. Either way, it's going to be an interesting week because honestly, there's not really much else going on Top Shot. There's 2 challenges, the last 2 of Series 2. We got the Drew Holiday alley-oop to Giannis, legendary, that beautiful, beautiful play from Game 5 of the finals, which now honestly feels like it was years ago. And then, of course, the Chris Paul Metallic Gold LE Series 2. It's non-playoff related. It's a different play. And also for those of you wondering, originally that challenge was stated that it was going to have the LaMelo Ball Metallic Gold in it, and then when it came out, it didn't have it, but now that's been re-added to the challenge, so that LaMelo Metallic Gold included in the challenge. Those are the last 2 challenges of Series 2, when we're going to see new moments outside of the Vegas Summer League stuff, which we're going to talk about in just a second. Who knows? Other news around Top Shot, another thing that may have made the market pop off was the announcement of the 9 Lives Lounge. So that came Friday afternoon, pretty much declaring that people who held all 30 Cool Cats, as you may recall, the very infamous Cool Cat set from Series 2, which is a bit of a train wreck in terms of collecting and the value it offered back to the people who collected it. People who hold all 30 of those moments will now have various perks. I'll read them out to you. First is access to an exclusive Discord channel within the Top Shot Discord, where they're going to have some chats with Dapper Labs executives like Roham. Also, each person who held those moments at the time of the snapshot or at the time of the announcement, each received 3 packs, I think like a Seeing Stars and a base set and something else. Also, probably most interesting and most attractive, those people who hold those moments will be considered for early access to other Dapper Labs projects. I don't know what that means, but that definitely has, contributed to a massive surge in the price of Cool Cats. It was sitting around, maybe about $3,500 on Friday afternoon. As of Sunday night, sitting around $6,800, so almost a doubling of that price. Now, what I find funny about these Cool Cats rewards is that I honestly think it would have been unlikely that any of this happened if the community hadn't revolted. As you may recall, when the final challenge was announced, the Master Challenger LaMelo, a lot of people who'd been holding all these Cool Cats were not very happy that there weren't going to be any extra perks with finishing that Master Challenge. So now Top Shot has clearly listened to the community and is offering all this really sweet stuff. But I'm actually curious, like, is if that's good or bad, right? Like, it's good because obviously Top Shot's listening to the community, and that's what we want. We all want our voices to be heard. But it's also bad because, were they not planning that and thus were not aware of how brutal that master challenge had been? Or were they simply not willing to acknowledge it until the community kind of went insane over it? I don't know. It's like, why didn't they plan those perks prior to? I think it also represents maybe a larger theme in Top Shot that we've seen crop up in the last couple of months in terms of the customer service support, where Top Shot has kind of fallen into this trend of rewarding people who complain. And if you ever your Cool Cats holder, I'm not saying, well, maybe you did complain and you should have, because you absolutely are entitled to these rewards, because Cool Cats, again, was very much a train wreck set. But I'm talking a little while back when Top Shot decided to give Dapper Balance to people who had customer service inquiries that hadn't been responded to. And then we've seen over time other people receive packs just for other like blips and issues, really just kind of for raising their voice and complaining. I really doubt that Top Shot wants to make that a trend, that complaining gets you perks. But again, back to my initial point, which was, would these benefits have happened had the community not revolted? So again, Top Shot probably not want to stick to that theme, but I'm very curious to see how they're going to handle community feedback as time goes along, if they're going to be a little bit more firm, when they roll out a set and they say there's no perks and that's it, or if they're going to keep, kind of flexing and being flexible to community feedback like that. And I also just want to stress, anybody who's part of the Nine Lives Lounge who held those Cool Cats, you are absolutely entitled to that. It's very well earned to get all of those perks. And sadly, I'm not one of those people. I sold all my Cool Cats like literally just a few days ago, like quite literally just a few hours before this was announced. I've been seeing the surge in Top Shot for a couple days, and I wanted to dump some money into some nice, fancy Series 1 moments. So Wednesday night, right in the middle of the festival, right as I was like super sleep deprived, I decided, now's a good time to dump my Cool Cats. I definitely was underestimating Top Shot's ability to deliver on the Cool Cats Lounge. So I dumped all of them. They all sold mostly on the Thursday and Friday, again, right up until a couple hours before the announcement. And that's just luck of the draw sometimes. You make decisions on Top Shot, and they're not perfect. And if anybody out there is still convinced that we get some kind of insider knowledge or anything like that, I hope that also, kind of goes against that and shows that I definitely didn't know. Because if I had, I guess I would have held. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not part of the Cool Cats crew. Maybe one day I'll buy back in if those prices come back down. The people that are in there, very happy for you. And Top Shot, very happy that you listen to the community. But over time, very keen to see you give us that clear roadmap and stick to it. Last but not least, in terms of what's going on in Top Shot, we have the Vegas Summer League, which usually, if you're a really hardcore NBA fan, obviously it's a big deal. The Summer League, it's fun. You get to see all the young up-and-coming players play each other. But for the more casual fan, it's a bit more of a blip on the radar. It's in the middle of the summer. It's when most people are, not really paying too much attention to basketball. But in Top Shot, we are paying tons of attention because Top Shot has a kiosk. They call it a kiosk, not a booth. A kiosk at the Vegas Summer League. It's there just for 3 days, so today and tomorrow, and it started yesterday. And there, fans will be able to mint a moment, or I guess sign up for a moment from a new tier of moment called the Fandom tier, which isn't on the website yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be added. And basically, they're going to get a moment minted from that game. Yesterday, it was OKC versus Detroit, so there's going to be a moment from that game minted just for the people who are there and who are going to get them, which then obviously signals that that's the future for Top Shot, that there's going to be a booth or there's going to be some kind of in-arena place that you have to visit, and that's where you can get an exclusive moment. And if that is the future, I'm a little bit on the fence as to whether I like that or not. Obviously, having a booth in the arenas, which is going to be the first place many new fans and collectors of Top Shot are going to interact with the product, that's really good. But what kind of behavior is it going to drive? Like, what value are these in-game moments going to have? Are people going to start going to games just to get those moments if they're really high priced, or if they're potentially of LeBron or Steph or Kevin Durant? Or is that not the intention? Are these booths instead going to be the place where you go to hook up some Top Shot perks because you've got a sweet collection, or a place where you go simply to meet other Top Shot collectors who are at the same game as you? Either way, it signals a totally new era of Top Shot. So basically, the previous era, the Series 2, stress test, oversupply, where's this all going? When are we going to see all this stuff that we've been promised delivered? That's the old era. I think that this is actually the new era, mainly because those possibilities of what that booth means and what comes next are kind of endless. And now, for a long time, we've been kind of fantasizing about what those are, but now they're actually starting to come to life. And it's clear that the way we interact with Top Shot as a community is also about to change, right? We've been interacting with Top Shot on Twitter and Discord, watching live shows, listening to pods, all that kind of stuff, the late nights. But now it's possible that most of our interactions with Top Shot are going to be in the game, at arenas, during a broadcast. For all we know, Top Shot might be something that's more of a real world thing than it is an online thing. It might end up being the destination. Again, I don't know where all that goes. I don't know what the next steps are, but I'm really starting to think about how we will interact with Top Shot on a regular basis and how Top Shot will interact with us. And this fan experience in Vegas, this kiosk, is a good first taste of that, of possibly many more things like that to come. I was listening to Club Top Shot the other night, one of our fellow shows in the Top Shot community. And Jack Settleman was on, and he was talking about a conversation he had recently with some other kind of sports insiders, and was saying how apparently the NBA is very invested in Top Shot and Dapper Labs, like to the point where it's not really just Dapper Labs licensing the product, that this is actually more like the NBA potentially building out like an entirely new line of business, like another division under them. I've often said that, maybe one day we'll reach a world where Top Shot becomes synonymous with the NBA experience, and that it could literally change the way we interact with the game, and that the game interacts with us. We saw that a little bit last year, players screaming NBA Top Shot that on the court. And now with there being a booth in games, and still quite a bit of time until the season starts, so a lot more time for development. Who knows what that next year is going to look like. And that is going to do it for us today, folks. Thank you for listening, and we will be back Wednesday with another episode of The First Mint.